Okay, so this is the second part of this lecture over phylum. We started with phylum Nemertea. We're now actually into phylum Nematode. I just kept the file name the same, so that way it's part 2 of that file. So anyway, we are in the nematodes, the roundworms. We talked about trichinella. We talked about last lecture pinworms. Hopefully nobody's got this. And we left off just introducing Scarus. Now, this is a much bigger issue than either of those other two. Statistically, 1 out of 6 people around the world are infected with Scarus. I want that to sink in. So statistically, 1 out of 6, that's 4 people in our class that should have an Scarus infection. Now, odds are, and I hope so, none of you have this. So that means we have a 0 out of 6. Well, to get that ratio, that means if I went to a class of 24 in a developing country, there should be 8 people infected in that class of 24 instead of 4 out of 24. Okay, so you see how the statistics work? We don't usually worry about this in developing countries because of our medical system that we take for granted. There are challenges with it. There are problems, no doubt about it. But you don't have to worry about a roundworm infection when you live in Illinois. Or if you did somehow get an infection, it would be treated immediately. You go to prompt care, you get diagnosed, you're going to get taken care of. So the 2 hyperlinks show you some pretty nasty stuff. If you're not sensitive, I don't like this stuff, don't hit the links. Some of you just clicked, I know it. Check it out. There's plenty of stuff out there through National Geographic, through YouTube, through great reliable resources that show this global issue. Okay, so here are things I want you to think about with Scarus. These are roundworms, kind of the, I don't want to say traditional, that sounds weird, but the representative example we often use when we discuss nematodes are Scarus. They're ones that we often use in dissections and lots of different things within sciences. It's a science classroom. So, okay, so Scarus. So sexual dimorphism. And I asked in the last lecture, why is this important for the female to be so big? Well, you get a big girl, she's going to produce a lot of eggs. So it's an evolutionary thing. She's going to be more fertile if she's larger. Now you notice the male. So come down here to this picture. Here's our female on the right, male's on the left. This is how we identify male versus female. Females are bigger, but then males have this hook on their anterior end. So what the male will do when it comes to reproduction is he will use that hook to wrap on to the female to hang on because she's bigger. She could shake him off if she wants to. So he hooks himself onto her, hangs on, and then will secrete his sperm to hopefully fertilize her eggs. So why is sexual dimorphism good? It can increase the biotic potential of the population. Bigger, healthier females, more likely to increase your population. They have that cuticle, that skin, resists digestive enzymes. It's shedding. It's going to shed off every so often. So even if your enzymes beat it up, skin comes off and new one replaces it, they're still safe. They're still good. So, all right, so let's talk about how this life cycle works with her. Female can releases, I'm going to say about 20,000 eggs per day into the host's gut or digestive system. So she's cranking out eggs like mad. Those eggs get fertilized. So now you have zygotes. And that digestive system carries it to the end and it comes out in your poop or the animal's poop. It comes out in the feces. So now it goes into the soil. What picks it up? Just depends. Now, I don't know about you guys, but we have a dog, and I've had dogs throughout my life. They love to eat poop. It's wrong. But they would go around and, oh, goose. Goose poop was a delicacy to one of our dogs years ago. And, oh, good Lord, his breath stunk so bad. And then he always wanted to come and lick you after he ate a pile of goose poop. So imagine if that goose had a roundworm, or deer. I have other dogs, friends, their dogs. They love to eat deer poop. That deer is infected, those zygotes are sitting in that poop. The dog now eats it. The dog's infected. The dog comes up and licks your face. Possibly you've become infected. It's just wrong on so many levels. But those zygotes are now sitting in the soil. They can potentially be picked up and not incorporated into the plant, but let's just say contaminate plants. And then, okay, we now eat the plant. So did you wash the lettuce? Did you wash the vegetables? Did you wash the plant that you're eating? If you didn't wash it well enough, you've just become infected. So now those things make their way into your stomach, because that's where the food goes when we eat it, moves into the digestive system, and the zygote larva So the zygotes hatch, and then they make their way into your bloodstream, your lymphatic system. These things can make their way into your heart and your lungs, and horrible, horrible, horrible problems here. So we have, those of you, us, myself as well, we have pets. Heartworm, that's what you're talking about here. If you don't get this, kill this before it develops and it migrates into the bloodstream and the cardiovascular system, these little suckers drill or burrow holes through the muscle tissue of your dog's heart, and it will kill your dog. Same thing could happen to a person if it got to be that bad. Hopefully we would identify it early enough and treat the person, treat the pet, and eliminate these things. All right, so here's the problem though. These things are now in your lungs, in your heart, and the infection is growing. You can remember, in a developing country, you don't have access to medical care. It might be a 3-hour bus ride to get to the hospital, and you don't have the 25 cents for the bus ride. So you don't get treated. So as this population of Scarus is building inside your body, remember, 20,000 eggs a day coming out of the initial host, that's a lot. How many larvae did you pick up, or zygotes that develop into larvae? So they build up, they're mating, they're reproducing inside of you. And as that infection grows, it's in your lungs, it's in your respiratory system, along with the cardiovascular system. It can actually come out your mouth. Oh. These worms will actually start crawling up your throat and out your mouth. And then it's going to go, oh, okay, we need to go somewhere. It's going to go back down your throat. Into your intestines again. And then they're going to produce more eggs / zygotes. And the cycle repeats itself within the same host. But it can transfer to another host, can win a different host, or a different individual comes into contact with those feces that are contaminated. So traditional, typical, very easy test for heartworm, bring in a sample of your dog's poop, let's pull it apart, let's see, do you have proglottids in there? Tapeworm infection. Do you have little zygotes from the roundworm? Roundworm infection. Poop tells us a lot. It's a nasty, dirty, yuck. But you can learn so much about an organism's health by looking at their poop. The mature worm here can reach up to 10 inches in length. So imagine having thousands of those things inside your body, inside your digestive system. It can move in, again, into the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system. Just disgusting. So the next slide is nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. If you don't like nasty stuff, don't click. Stop the video now. Get out while you can. I'm giving you fair warning. It's like, don't look under the stairs. And what do people do? They stick their head under the stairs and get it chopped off in the horror movies. I'm telling you, don't go to the next one if you're sensitive. Yeah, you guys are going, just show us a slide. We want to see the nastiness. I know. You guys are, that's why you're bio majors. Okay, that's why I'm in this field as well. All right, here it is. Here's a young boy with a severe Scarus infection. It got so severe, the worms were crawling out of his nose and going down his mouth to get down into his throat, down into the stomach, into the intestinal tract. Treat the child, anti-parasitic drugs, basically deworm the child, and then those worms have to come out of your body. Yes, you're going to vomit a bunch out, but if they've moved further down in the digestive system, if they're in the intestinal tract, they're coming out the back end. You're not going to vomit stuff out that was sitting in your small intestine. You're going to push it out, and it's going to come out your backside. That's what it looks like when it came out, that poor child. Those are all roundworms. You literally have hundreds and hundreds of these worms coming out of this poor child. So, go back to the statistics. 1 out of 6 people worldwide have this. So we go to a developing country, that's a lot of people. This is a significant global health issue. How do we break the cycle? How do we eliminate this and improve human health for billions of people on this planet? So you think about, again, let's just do statistics. We look at math and statistics a lot in science. If there's over 7 billion people on Earth, 1 out of 6, let's go conservative, 1.1 billion people will have a roundworm infection. So can you guys come up with creative ways to eliminate these infections?